To maximize results of any incentive program, the first thing you need to do is to truly understand what motivates your salespeople. So we're going to spend a little bit of time getting to know really how their minds work and what are the keys to driving them to success. Providing the insight you need to design, develop, and execute a winning tiered incentive program, I'm going to throw it over to George Kriza, President and CEO of MTC Performance.
As we begin to think about the strategy development for our sales incentive program, one of the most fundamental elements to consider is how do salespeople think? They're our target audience. Our promotional design should be designed in such a way to push their buttons. When you stop and think about it, salespeople may think very differently from operational people. They may actually think differently from marketing people. One thing's for sure, salespeople are their own breed. So, what are the primary characteristics of salespeople? Number one, they have a competitive nature. So, you want to make sure you take advantage of that nature. Number two, they have a desire to maximize their income and make it as high as possible. That's a big consideration. And lastly, they have a need for prestige. So we want to consider all of these design elements as we begin our thinking on strategy for our sales incentive program. Let's dig a little bit deeper on the topic of how salespeople think and, more pointedly, how we can change their behavior to align it with our business goals. Salespeople are highly motivated. We've already learned that. But what that means is they will take the time that they need to learn your program and how they can maximize their income under that program. That's a fact. And when we say they can jump, what do we mean by that? Well, as opposed to giving them the same reward every type of action that they take, what we really want to do is we want to give progressively increasing rewards that they will have to make higher performance levels in order to cash in on. They will learn how to jump through those hoops. Now, here's another reason why that's important, is because salespeople often take the path of least resistance. There are many products they could easily sell that go together, for example, but they will rarely take the time, effort, and energy necessary to sell those go-together products, and often they don't do it. And in their minds, they may be thinking that it's just all about driving volume and accessories they're just not important to them. But a salesperson will sell 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 add-on products if we give them the financial incentive to do so. So why don't we do that? Let's find a way to reward them more handsomely than when they sell just the base product. What else will happen as a byproduct of this is they will focus on your brand and develop higher levels of brand loyalty because they're really benefiting economically. So we're going to work on putting together structures that once the salespeople understand them, they will go after them with a vengeance and start to really love selling your product line. They know your brand's going to be their bread and butter. They're going to make a lot more money selling your product line than any other product line, even if the margins in the market are the same as all the other competitors. They will push your product because the economic reward based on your incentive program design is so much more attractive. Those of us that actually work on sales incentive programs often get very much involved with the day-to-day operations. That day-to-day operations can include claims management, registering new participants, various policy issues, and the nitty-gritty detail of what's going on in our incentive program. It can take a lot of time. I call that operational gravity. So for us to get the most results out of our incentive program design, we actually have to step away from operations. When we step away from operations, the first thing we should think about is to define the business outcomes that we're trying to accomplish for our organization. Ask ourselves a question: what's going to be positive and really move the needle? How are we going to accomplish our specific profit and revenue objectives? Sometimes we're going to find that additional thought about our strategy can go a long way. It might make all the difference in the world. We want to optimize outcomes, I think that's fair to say. So, in thinking about our planning, we should think once again about that salesperson. How do we take an average salesperson and turn them into a superstar? Or perhaps a good question would be, are we paying low performers the same way that we're paying superstars? Is that a good idea? We all know the 80-20 rule. 20% of the top performers deliver 80% of the results. But are we designing our sales incentive programs to take that in consideration? What we do know is that some very simple promotional design changes can avoid entitlements and make a dramatic improvement in our business results and our traction.
Now that we understand how salespeople think and what motivates them, let's explore one of the most underutilized and powerful methods to reach them.
The overwhelming majority of sales incentive programs utilize a strategy that is called simple sell and get, or sell one, get one. What that really turns into is that you get a long list of products, often called SKUs, and for every one of those SKUs, you get a particular reward. SKU A might get $5, SKU B, 10, SKU C, 50, just depending on the retail price or the situation at the moment. Simple to understand, and all I need is my list to know my reward. On the other hand, that really is rewarding everyone at the same rate, regardless of how much effort they're putting into selling the product line. You might also imagine that that would create an entitlement where you just know you're going to get paid automatically, whether you sell a lot or a little. But as we look at our graphic here, what we really want is something entirely different. What we really want is getting people out of their comfort zone, getting them out of their traditional selling patterns, and into some meaningful improvement that's going to be noticeable to everyone. So whether we use the word sprint or not, sprint implies the time involved, but over any period of time in the promotion, we might have one type of reward for the first 5 units. When we break through that 5 units, we might have a greater reward. We might have another increased reward at 10 units, perhaps another one at 25 units, and maybe even at 100 or 250 units, depending on the product and the ordinary sales volume. The long and the short of it is that tiers make salespeople more goal-directed. It makes them stretch, get out of their comfort zone, and when the program is done, they always have something that has pushed them forward to their maximum level of performance. Tiers are a great thing. Let's take a look at a simple sell and get world. Here's what we typically see. A particular product in a promotion might be assigned a reward level of $10. That means that every time you sell a unit, you get $10. So a salesperson goes about their business, and in a 30-day period, perhaps they sell 8 units. Since they're getting $10 for every unit they sell, when they claim, they will get $80. That's their total payout, and the average cost of that incentive is, of course, $10 per unit, because it's a linear, simple sell and get promotion. Now, it's important to understand a few things here. First of all, you'll notice there is no tier 2 or tier 3 or 4 or 5 for that matter. Why? Well, it's pretty simple. It's because we didn't take the time to design that tier. So we're only getting the results from a sell one, get one strategy. Those results, quite simply, are 8 units. Is that really the best we can do? As we begin to implement a tier strategy, we're going to very quickly find out that it has a surprising amount of power. Let's remember this. The underlying principle is that we want salespeople supercharged. We want to more richly reward great performance. Now, before we worry about the end result, let's just take a look at this reward structure. And as just a note, we don't have to change our budget as we create a structure like this, and soon you'll see why. Now, rather than start out with the idea of a $10 tier for every sale, we ask the question, why do we want to pay the low-performing salesperson the same way we pay a superstar? We don't really want to do that, so we won't do it that way. Those individuals will live in Tier 1. Tier 1 only gets a $5 reward. So the first 4 units that you sell in this type of structure, you're only going to get $5 each. If you think about it, that's only $20. Now, if that's all the salesperson sold, you compare what they would get paid this way versus the other way, and the difference is $20 versus $40. You just saved $20, and the result didn't change because their behavior didn't change. They were just going through the motions. But now we'll expand the strategy to include Tier 2 and Tier 3. Units beyond 5 are now going to get an $8 incentive. Units at 10 and above are going to get a $12 incentive. So we're actually going to pay them more by $2 a unit once they break through the the 10 unit level. Does that higher reward level, starting with 10 units, figure into their thinking? It most certainly does. They are more motivated. So instead of selling 8 units, suddenly they're focused on this product line and this particular SKU. And they may sell quite a few more. Now, we can't really say exactly how many more, but for the sake of this illustration, they're really excited about this opportunity now, and that 8 units all of a sudden grows to 37 units. Quite a difference. At this point, we're going to take a look at the way the tier structure rewards them. They made $20 selling the first 4 units. The next 5 units made them $40, and those top 28 units, those final 28 units that they were very excited to sell, made them an additional $336 at a $12 reward level. Total payout has grown to $396. Notice this, not only have we supercharged their performance, but the actual out-of-pocket cost to our sales incentive budget has only grown by 70 cents per unit. Now compare that to the dramatic improvement in the unit volume. You're probably asking yourself at this moment, can that really happen? Yes, it can really happen. Now we have to say these numbers that we're illustrating here of $5, $8, $12, they're not magic numbers, and they may be very different in your circumstances, but the bottom line is we have progressively increased the reward in a meaningful way, and in doing so, the low performers are making less than half of what the top performers are making for every unit they sell. You're saving budget on the one hand and accelerating sales on the other hand. So in many cases, this type of strategy will in fact yield great results. This tier concept really does work, as we've illustrated in our prior discussion. But now we can expand the principle in an add-on sale context. And we'll show you an example of exactly how that can be implemented. But I'd like to take you back to one of the thoughts we presented earlier. Salespeople often have the habit of taking the path of least resistance. And you might say that that path is often strewn with lost sales opportunities and lost profit opportunities, not only for the manufacturer, that's you as the sponsor, but also for the retailer or reseller. The typical salesperson behavior is to sell only what the customer asks for and nothing more. That's a problem because there's a lot more that could be sold. Take the example of a cell phone. Plenty of cell phones are sold today, and no doubt many of them go out the door by themselves. But just ask yourself what other things could be sold with a cell phone. I'm sure you could make a long list, including a case, earbuds, Bluetooth speaker, so on and so forth. Now, the majority of people that walk in and buy that product and walk out with no accessories are missing the benefits of all of those additional products. There's many more that we could think about, but those products really belong with that item and are really beneficial when used with that item. And if we don't talk about it at the time of the original sale, the customer will think about those accessories later and buy it wherever they happen to be. So we are definitely doing the customer a favor by selling add-on items. You're also doing yourself a favor by growing the overall price of the sale and growing the average profit margin. Obviously, base products go out with the tightest margins, and accessory products often have 25, 35-point margins on them. Let's take a look at the example we have on screen right now. Here's an example of a four-tier structure that awards people that do take the extra time to sell add-on products. Now, if they don't sell any add-on products, that basic spiff remains at $5. But when you sell some add-on products, we add a tier 2. So what we've now established with tiers 2, 3, and 4 are progressively increasing rewards from $6 to $8. So if we sell the base unit with 3 accessories, we get 6. The base unit with 5 accessories, we get $7. The base unit with 7 accessories, we get $8. So we're making actually a dramatic increase to the sales incentive based on selling the full family of products instead of just the standalone product. These types of structures can be designed any way that makes sense. And of course, if there are very expensive products that go together, the rewards should increase significantly. What we often see in the market, and I don't think it's quite as good a strategy as the way we're illustrating the strategy, is we see people run a promotion on a base product and a completely separate promotion on accessory products. But it makes all the sense in the world to tie the two together. Let's take a moment to look at the results of a powerful tier-based strategy. Remember that we're segmenting our target audience into the laggards, you might say, the slowpokes, the middle group that we want to move upward and onward, and the world-class performers that we want to supercharge. So with this new promotional design, the laggards, they're doing what they've always done, but they earn less, much less, and that's good. The middle group has a strong incentive because we've tiered it up that way, and they sell a good deal of products as part of the program. But the world-class performers jump into that top tier and they deliver amazing results. The overall sales for the promotion dramatically increase at the same time that the budget has been reallocated from the laggards to the middle and even more so to the top. The overall spend is amazingly similar, but the total sales lift is significantly higher. The question almost everyone asks that has never run a tier-based promotion is a very simple one. How in the world do I know this is going to work for my company? Well, it's a good question because no doubt tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars are at stake not to mention the resulting and consequential sales from your sales incentive program. So you have to take a sober-minded approach to the way that you implement this. You have to study what's already happening. And once you're studying this, you might want to be quite systematic about the way you approach it. We believe that running market experiments on a regular basis is going to help you design exactly the best possible program. Those market experiments would include changing the tier levels. So we use the illustration of $5, $8, and $12. There's no magic in $5, $8, and $12. What we really want to do is we want to look what is the average performer selling day in and day out under your current promotion style. Once we understand that, we want to say maybe I should increase that 20%, 30%, 50% based on higher levels of performance and see how it works out. We might take a few products to try it on in the beginning. We might try a particular product line and work on it. But then once we build the formula and we understand what's happening in the market based on the strategy as we implement it, we will then really know what to do to fully optimize the promotion and get great results. So there's really a closed loop system here. Study what has happened before, think about the strategy, think about how we can inflect the rewards based on volume, think about the impact on budget, and then implement a strategy, study the results, and this is a very key point, find tipping points. Tipping points are those points where you can really tell decisively that your strategy is making a difference. To be very specific, a particular product might have a $25 spiff and nothing happens. It might have a $35 spiff and then things begin to happen. But at $50, it takes off like a rocket ship. Now, we don't know if we can afford $50, but just for the sake of argument, there's some number out there where the market's going to notice, take heed, and really act on it in volume. We need to find that number. That's the tipping point. This is a very simple concept. Don't give it away. Tie it to high levels of performance. So individuals that are really selling 50 units, 100 units, big numbers of units, give them that tipping point, and you will see phenomenal results. If we follow this structure, this management procedure, we will find that our strategy will inherently become optimized because it's become data-driven, it's become solidly motivating, and the top performers are knocking it out of the park. Underlying the actual implementation of the strategies we've been discussing is the actual market data. Now, what we have here at MTC is a tool called SpiffIQ, and that's a tool that you can use that's very data-driven to give you real-time feedback for what's happening with your sales incentive program. The way this chart works is the bottom half tells you whether you're on or off promotion and the dollar amount of the sales incentive, either for a particular product or a product line. And the top chart is telling us what's happening with the sales results. So on the one hand, if we take a quick look at this chart, we see that a promotion began and all of a sudden we have liftoff. So the market took notice of our promotion and started selling it. But after about 90 days went by, we saw some degradation, and maybe it's time that we take another look at what we're doing with the promotion and give it the figurative kick in the pants with something new or different to get their attention back. The bottom line is a tool like SpiffIQ can help you visualize what's going on in real time in your promotion and give you exactly the feedback that you want so that you can inflect your strategy dynamically based on real data and make things super exciting. Now that we've built a great strategy, it's exceptionally important that we communicate what we've done to our target audience. If you don't tell the market what you're doing, if you don't promote it, your chances of success just aren't good. Marketing communications at some level in this web world almost sounds like it's ancient, but really marketing communications is the key to getting any new incentive structure on the road to success. So you've got to tell your sales channel what you're doing. Tell your internal sales team what you're doing. Explain to them how their income's going to increase if they feature your brand in a big way. Everyone involved with touching the sales group needs to be talking up this new incentive compensation method and understand why it's great. If they understand why this is a tremendous benefit and the powerful effect it will have on increasing their income, you'll get the results. So you have to develop marketing communication handouts, various PDFs, develop inside the web app for the sales incentive program, communication vehicles. Get all these things in the hands of salespeople and make sure that they understand what this new approach is and why it's a compelling benefit for them.